Welcome to the Trading Daddies podcast, hosted by yours truly. I changed my name to the Master Crayon Eater. Shout out to the person on YouTube that called us Master Crayon Eaters. I'm gonna embrace that. I'm no longer the ugly one because I got a haircut. No longer ugly. I'm feeling quite handsome, to be honest with you. And as always, my amazing co-host.
What's going on? Teflon John here. Good morning.
Good morning. And we are graced with a new guest today. Our good friend Mauricio Mo Money, Mo Buckets, no Mo Problems is on the air. Mo, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for having me, first of all. My name is Mauricio Manriquez. I am 29 years old. I'm a proud father. Yes. I have my son, which is 1.5 years old. I'm an electrical contractor. I've also worked in investments such as bullion, cannabis, and other aspects as well, private equity. Nice. Which has given me a little bit of insight in the market because, I have to compare, protecting principles and everything. And I have to see, like a broader aspect of the market as well.
Nice. We're gonna get into that. I like that. Yep. Thank you.
That's dope. That's dope. We really do enjoy that. So if you guys are interested in knowing more about that stuff, please make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button, hit that post notification bell, give us a nice preemptive thumbs up if you guys like this content. And if you guys want us to cover any stocks on Daddy Bits, make sure that you guys drop them in the comment section down below. With that being said, let's get to it right after this banging new intro.
Again,
as always, welcome to the Trading Daddies podcast, hosted by yours truly, the Master Crayon Eater, and as always, my amazing co-host,
Teflon John here.
Tefleezy Fosheezy is into he's in. We are graced with Mo. He is joining us for today's episode. Mo Money, Mo Buckets, no Mo Problems. Mo, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate it. I know that was it last minute? No, it wasn't last minute, was it?
Wasn't last minute.
No, it wasn't last minute. Yeah, Mo sent us a message on Instagram, and we've developed some type of relationship with him, and we invited him to hop on. That's how easy it is to get on this show, guys. All you really need to do is just slide in our DMs. We're friendly individuals. I hope that we're friendly individuals. Just you may leave some nastygrams on the page. I mean, we're not going to hate. We're just going to talk shit about you behind your back. Welcome, Mo. So tell us about yourself, Mo.
Well, basically, I spend my time working, basically, providing for my family. The stock market, I'm not going to lie, I recently got into it like in November of last year. I was always into, other type of investments and things like that because of what I used to work for in Los Angeles, and I had to give that up, obviously, because my wife, she had her son, and where we were living, she had no family, so she needed that support from her family. And all our family lives out here in the Central Valley and the Bay Area. So I decided, to take the money that we earned there and come out here and starting my own electrical company because that used to be my trade before. It was very eye-opening for me when I first moved to Los Angeles because beforehand I've always worked construction. I started off working in places like Mi Pueblo, Metro PCS, things like that, and I always took a step above. And then one of my friends opened up a finance company out there from high school. And I just decided, hey, he put up a post that he needed a broker. So I was like,
Hey Mo, real quick. So when you guys opened up a firm, pretty much, let's make this short. Were you guys throwing any midgets on a target poll?
Hey, what?
Have you seen that movie Wall Street? Were you guys tossing midgets on a board?
Midgets.
You never seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Nah. Oh
Go
no.
watch.
No, but we used to. Actually, that's funny because when I had my interview with them, they actually asked me, have you ever watched The Wolf of Wall Street?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay, basically you're hired because of that."
Wait, what?
No, it
What
was
kind of interview was that?
when I went out there, honestly, I had no experience in any of this. I was just a construction worker. I learned how to do my trade for electricians. I
Mhm.
literally pulled up in my 2012 Ford Focus. I had my suit in the back and El Segundo. I
Damn.
actually kind of used that as an excuse to go to Tijuana to party that weekend. No joke. So I told my girl, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's go, and if it doesn't go too good, let's just party basically. So we
Damn.
got there. We got to these offices in El Segundo. I've never seen things like this before. I wasn't used to it in my life.
Oh, this is
My
going somewhere. This is going so okay. All right. So sorry to cut you off. So pretty much you pulled up with no background, right? We all don't have any backgrounds when it comes to the
mm-mm,
stock market, right?
uh-huh.
The majority of us don't. So what you're trying to say is that you you sold your friend a pen. You remember that scene when they
Mhm,
were sitting down
mhm.
on the table and he said, "Hey, sell me this pen." When Leo was like, to the drug dealer,
Yep.
he
Yeah.
was like, "Sell me this pen." He was like, "Hey, do me a favor, write my name on that one." Oh, you don't have a pen? Here, supply and demand. So what you're trying to say is that you guys joined up a Justice League, a group of guys, and created a firm, right?
No,
So,
well, he had his firm created already, and
uh-huh.
we were good friends since high school. So I saw him living the life, like living on Manhattan Beach and everything, and living good. And one day, I'm not the type of person that likes to ask for handouts or anything.
Yeah.
And one day he just put up on his Facebook, "Hey, I'm looking for a junior broker, and then I'm looking for somebody to manage the company." So I just sent him a message out of nowhere. I was just like, "Hey, if you're looking for somebody, maybe I could get an opportunity." He didn't give me a handout. He told me, "Well, I'll get you an interview." So I left and did the interview, and I was going against people that were actually getting degrees in finances and everything. So I
Hmm.
was extremely nervous. I actually thought I wasn't gonna get it, honestly. Like I told you, I just went out there
How
just as
cool
an
is that?
excuse to go party and stuff.
The
Yeah,
balls on you.
yeah, and I just put on my suit. In the back of my Focus I had hanging. I went inside and I did the interview, and I was completely honest. Like what I'm telling you guys, I told them my background. I told them, about being an electrical contractor. I told them that, like I'm willing to learn and everything. Even the Wolf of Wall Street, they asked me like 3 questions about the Wolf of Wall Street just to, verify that, I saw the movie.
Was there during your time in the firm, were there any like blow or hookers like, in the bathroom or in the office or
Oh
like
man.
what I just
Oh
wanna
man.
let the people know
The fact
is
that he goes, "Oh man," tells me so much.
well, no. Hear me out, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So, because when people say, like, I have friends who say, "Hey, like, do you do a lot of drugs?" Like, because you trade stocks, because it's a stressful job, right? And I say, well, like, kind of I don't give them a straight answer, right? But a lot of people have that misconception of if you work at a firm, a lot of these happen. Like a lot of these, things happen, right? And just give us more background on that one. Like, because people when people say, "Oh, I work at a firm," oh, Wolf of Wall Street, tell me more about it.
Mhm.
Just tell us the what really happens behind the
Mhm.
scenes.
So like
Well,
on a let's take it let's simplify this. Tell us your day to day, like from the time that you walk inside the building till the time that you leave. Because like for the average investor like us, for the retail investor like us, just that does it at home, our day to day is totally different. We wake up in
Yeah.
the morning, drink coffee, sit in front of a screen, and then go home. And we're home, so we're done. But for the people who actually have to go into a building in order to trade, tell us how that experience is like.
well, that experience is a little different, from trading stocks,
Hmm.
because obviously we after I got hired, um They gave me 2 weeks to go out there, and I found a place over in Redondo Beach, an apartment with my wife, and I would wake up at 7 in the morning, go into the building, and then what we would do would be kind of like the Wolf of Wall Street. We'd cold call, and then we had hot leads that they would give to basically um the people that work the hardest, basically as a like thank you for the work you're putting in. So we would spend all day, all night. But I'm gonna tell you this, in the same building that we were working in SpaceX in El Segundo, drugs are actually very common in that type
Really?
of work. Like I'm talking about, like there was people there. I'm not gonna say name for liability reasons and everything, but
Yeah.
they were from day to night. Some people wouldn't eat for 3 days. I'm serious about that. Like I had
The movie's
uh
real.
I had the boss basically every Friday buy a bunch of, oh, what do you guys want? Molly, yo, blah 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 blah, etc. I was not used to that environment.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
like literally, like when I started working even in the cannabis industry, I don't smoke weed. I
Yeah.
used to, but not anymore.
Right, right.
So it was a very hard experience for me, also because my wife was pregnant, and
Mhm.
we'd go out and eat, spend $300 per person on a tab almost every day. Like it was a very, very, very hard experience for me
No, it wasn't.
because I had to contemplate everything for my wife, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and
So your
it,
moral compass would always go back and forth like a barometer, like hot
yeah,
cold, hot
yeah,
cold, hot cold.
but I had started having problems because I wouldn't participate in a lot of things.
So they were already looking at you
Yeah,
sideways.
like once in a while, obviously,
Yeah.
we hit a $20,000 deal for me in commission. Obviously, let's throw a party, let's do this. We'd have a good time, but I couldn't do it as much as the people there because honestly, in Los Angeles, it's very different than here in the Bay Area, Central Valley, and everything.
Mhm.
Because you're constantly on your hustle.
Yeah.
You don't sleep. You're just there, trying to work and make the best, and you need a lot of, energy to do that. And there's a lot of people that just honestly do not sleep. They're just thinking about money and business and money and business and money and business in the city.
Wow. Just
You know,
straight grinding it.
it was very eye opening for me. Like when I first got in, I started as a junior broker, and in 2 months, I ended up being the right hand man of the boss, like in charge of his senior brokers and everything. But because I hustled my ass off, like we had a test that gives promotions and everything that was like 150 questions. In 2 days, I learned it by memory, but I didn't sleep. I was just like trying to make the money because I saw the money that I've never seen. I've seen experiences. I ate at restaurants that I would never think. I rode in, limos, exotic cars that I've never done before until hitting Los Angeles, and it really sparked something in me that really motivated me to get to where I wanted. So I just took it all in for
That
that.
kind of money will kind of blind you though, right? Like if it's
You know
that
what?
fast.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
And I'm not gonna lie about that. Like I was a very different person in Los Angeles. Like when you start getting that money, you
Mhm.
know, sometimes you give up your heart,
You do.
your humbleness because
Mhm.
of the money that you're making and the drive. You stop caring about the people that are there for you. And I learned that. Because I was a very humble guy before,
Mhm.
because I worked my ass off, obviously, in construction, doing what I did. And I went from making this money where I'm sitting in the office calling people, brokering deals, to, like it just changes your mindset. And sometimes it's not worth it because it turns you into an ugly person, to be honest. Like sometimes,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not, it's like you start having a lot of regrets throughout your
Mhm.
life as well.
Hey, you know what?
You know,
I'm already. I like this episode that we're in right now.
I know.
It's going
I know.
deep.
This is real. This is real. Because the reason why is because it when it comes down to money in general, it's just not even trading, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm I'm a believer that money is a tool. Money is a tool for different things. John taught me this, that money is a tool. It's a vehicle for you to get somewhere you want in life. But it's also entirely up to you as an individual and as a person to check yourself in order for you to stay grounded and make sure that the people around you are keeping you grounded. Right. So when it comes down to seeing that kind of money, initially you get blinded by that. I remember my first $500 trade. I wanted to quit my job, but
No, yeah. No.
and then I thought to myself, this is just $500. I can't really let go of benefits for all of this. So but that, like, when it comes to like the thousands, even if you hit like a $5,000 trade, you get super blinded by everything and you just feel so invincible. And if you couple that with yayo, you couple that with the fast life, dude, imagine wearing like actual Teflon. Like actual Teflon.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Especially, the yay scene out there in Los Angeles is crazy. Like it's very crazy. When I was out there, I just couldn't believe, what people were doing because of, it's just like it was changing people. It's just like it was like, something that was just overpowering people. Like I believe, as an adult, and a responsible person, that you give everything for your family and everything, whatever you use, except like heroin, crack, and things like that.
Oh, there's a line. There's a line you don't cross.
There's a line, exactly. There's a line. Whatever
the line
you do,
stops at the line you roll up. Like that's the line that you don't cross.
Exactly. I believe as an adult, as long as you're providing everything, you should have a balance for whatever you do, and nobody could judge you for that. But there was people that were literally like spending, like you would say, oh, this person's making $80,000 a month and no money because of blow or because of other things. And
80
like,
bands?
wow.
Somebody was making $80,000 a month?
I'm telling you, man, this is like a Wolf of Wall Street movie.
No, honestly, like the person that I was working with, which I'm not going to disclose the name, obviously, for legal reasons, he had problems with cannabis, for example, the business that we were working in. And when he left cannabis, he lied to everybody, and we had no idea what was going on. He would just be like, oh, this guy this guy that. No names mentioned. But yeah, basically him acting like a victim. So we broke off and started our own thing. But he didn't even know what to do. I put him on private equity. I put him on all these ideas, and he was making $250,000 a month. And guess what? No money. He would literally go to Las Vegas, play the high slots, and lose everything. Like he would just
like a full-on degenerate.
He would spend it on all this, and I would be like, bro, we got to invest this money in multiple businesses, and actually, like open up like some kind of empire or something.
Yeah. But hold on a second. You're telling me that he makes $250 a month. $250 a month. He would go to Vegas and play slots. I don't.
Like he wouldn't even play tables. Like I'll tell you that. He would go to the high roller slots and just like bam, 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 bam. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, bro.
I've had my fair share of experiences with the white. I've been to Vegas. I've done all of that, but I can't see myself doing that and just sitting down and just pulling the slots. That's a weird experience to me.
There's so many ways for you to lose your money. Okay,
it's easy money. Honestly, it's easy money. She knows he can make it next month, so it's easy for him. Until everything starts falling on your back.
Yeah. Like that's rough.
Going back to your previous background, so I'm having trouble because I look at all these cannabis, stocks, and you probably heard majority of them: Tilray, CGC, How are people viewing the cannabis sector in general when you talk to, like, let's say your friends or I don't know, like random people? Obviously, you've done some calls, but how are they viewing it? Are a lot of people opposed to it? Are a lot of people are thinking about, oh, this is the future? But why is the cannabis sector down in general? Not a lot of companies make money off of it.
Well, me and my experience in the hemp business, more than anything, the cannabis this business is very different. It's oversaturated. I
It
think
is,
that's
yeah.
one of huh?
It is very.
It's extremely oversaturated.
Uh-huh.
I think that's one of the biggest causes. Because when I was working there in the hemp business, we'd have, like for example, in China, one of the people that were in charge of the mining in China, royal family, wanted to invest in hemp through us and things like that. And you have like not just you know people here in the United States, but internationally,
Mhm.
um, trying to come here to the United States to start a hemp business. So you
Hmm.
got the hemp value going down like crazy.
Yeah.
And then not just that, a lot of people are growing hemp and just trying to send raw hemp, and they don't industrialize their product like making shoes or making clothing, making paper or hemp products. So
Mhm.
you have all this hemp going to waste. So all these farmers that absolutely don't know what they're doing with hemp, and I'm talking about like millions and millions of pounds. They don't know what they're doing with the hemp. Most of it goes to waste. Most of the people can't even sell it anymore. They don't do anything with the hemp. You have everybody trying to dip their fingers and toes in the business. It's just like there's just no room for hemp to actually become valuable because there's so much of it. It's not scarce anymore. And with cannabis, for example, you know, it's 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 almost the same thing with cannabis. You have so many people growing, and so many people even doing illegal grows, non-licensed.
Hmm.
You have farmer unions that I know of that obviously I can't speak of that they grow hundreds of acres in the mountains. Like
Mhm.
up north in Oregon and in everything. And then people are getting them at dirt cheap price. Like when I was in Los Angeles and I would try to broker a deal and I would bring a client to the seller, and we used to do it through escrow because you're talking about millions of dollars. You
Mhm.
can't just like show up with millions of dollars. You have to do it through escrow agents, like
Yep.
just like when you buy a house,
Yeah.
and we'd show up and then there'd be like 10 other people lined up ready to give you a dirt cheap price, and it's just that devaluates because it's so oversaturated because you always have growers everywhere.
So
I've had
there's so many people growing weed right now.
Mhm.
I bet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, even if there's so many people, if you sell it on the black market, you still get a dime,
Mhm.
and if you're just growing some plants and you're just kind of taking care of them here and there, it's extra money.
Mhm.
So there's just a lot of people growing wheat right now. Like, it's just like there's not a scarcity in it. So that's
Mhm.
why actually the cannabis business is going way down because there's just so much suppliers and not
Mhm.
as much demand for it.
So
You have
so do
people
you?
that are uh-huh.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm formulating my question. Go ahead.
Basically, there's so much supply, not enough demand, and then
Yeah.
the people that just get shoved to the side because they're not getting what actually the cannabis is worth because there's always somebody that wants to lowball them. You know, that weed basically goes into the black market, goes to waste, and doesn't go into the economy. So that devaluates a lot what
That's
cannabis
why.
and the hemp is,
Mhm.
in my
That's why.
opinion.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for clearing that because I've always been like iffy, when it comes to weed stocks, pot stocks, and there's so many of them out there, and now I get a better understanding of why majority of them fail.
No, yeah,
Plain and
100.
simple. Yeah. So
That's just how it is in the weed business. That's why
yeah,
I've never invested in weed stocks, even though I've worked in the industry.
for
Is
sure.
it more of so the cannabis sector as a whole right now? Because it's been crazy. Like I remember buying my first dub sack at the age of 19, and it was like a CD operation. Like I'd have to hop in a car. I don't know this person who's in the driver's seat weighing out some weed and putting it in a baggie and
Yeah.
then giving it to me, and then I have to hop out. That's I miss those. I miss
Mhm.
the seediness of it. But because of legalization, like we thought, like we know that legalization is good overall, But because of
Mhm.
legalization, and there's a weed shop in every single corner, especially here in San Francisco, there's so
Yep.
many,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure and the prices are super low.
Yeah.
You can get weed pretty damn cheap. You can get a full eighth for $20,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
If you go to Cocoa County Farms, like that, you could get a full eighth for $20. Like, can you imagine getting a full eighth for 20 in 2005? That's just nuts. So
Yeah.
I think that's the reason for pot stocks not being as how do you say this? It's not as popping right now. Essentially, the prices are fairly low because they're not really making any like solid profit off of this unless they're doing massive volume.
Well, what happens with a lot of these cannabis companies, what I see, you know, obviously there's a 33% tax on, cannabis when you buy it, plus state tax and everything. It's
Mhm.
like you're
Wow.
massively taxed on. A
Wow.
lot of
Mhm.
these people that actually sell the cannabis, and they're not going to admit it, they pocket a lot of it. They don't report everything to the IRS.
Yeah, no, hell no.
Absolutely
It's all cash.
100% no.
It's all
It doesn't
cash.
make sense. What are you going to make a buck off your eighth when you sell it for $20?
Yeah.
Obviously not. So that's what happens in the cannabis scene as well. It's just like every other business. Nobody. It's very rare when somebody reports 100% of the business to the IRS.
Of
You
course.
know,
Who would do that?
it, yeah. You know,
So how is like can I ask you though? Like, this is very fascinating to me because I know that the cannabis sector as a whole, you cannot take card payments, or you can take card payments, but
mhm.
then they don't have a bank that it goes to. It's all through cash, right? Because the banks, the FDIC banks are still not taking deposits from cannabis companies. Is that correct?
Well, I'm 100% not too sure about that.
Okay.
But I know that they used to take debit card payments.
Okay.
I've been to some clubs that do take them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but I know that most of them prefer cash.
Prefer
It's
cash.
like they put up a sign that basically says, this much more for cards to scare people away from paying with their cards.
Mm.
For that reason. But I wouldn't doubt it
Mm-hmm.
honestly. But obviously, when you put a transaction with the bank, it's when enough money accumulates, IRS is going to be like, hey, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But with cash, it's a completely different
So
Nice.
no matter the federal legality of it all, the federales are still gonna get their cash.
They are,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they're gonna get it easily through
yeah.
card transactions. There's a lot of
Gotcha.
clubs that just say cash only. For that
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I remember trying to order some weed out here, and we have ease out here, so it's fairly easy for me. Just it's like the Uber of weed. I can just
Mhm.
easily go on the app. I just order, and then it just shows up on my doorstep.
So it's like DoorDash, huh?
It's like
Nice,
DoorDash. It's like Weed Dash.
Yeah.
nice,
It's like
nice.
Weed Dash. But so you were telling us earlier that there was like you had an idea for like a McDonald's of cannabis, right? So the idea was to have like one cannabis shop in each underdeveloped city.
No, it wasn't so much like that. I personally did not do anything. I got hired by the company, but the company
Mm.
wanted that perspective because we actually had a contract with the government to be one of the only companies in the United States to actually be able to put, a piece. You know, a square foot of weed into a self-directed IRA, and we were gonna be, 10 years tax free in opportunity zones. And opportunity zones are basically small cities and things like that to get the people working and things like that.
No, nice. That's actually
Yeah,
good. I like that. How
but
about this, guys?
unfortunately, the company fell off
Mm-hmm.
because of dirty things and everybody backstabbing each other and
I
everything,
feel it. I
which to
feel it.
me was a very sad thing because they had the world in their hands if they wanted to actually, proceed with it. But you had people taking investments, not paying the investors, or not putting the money into the company. And then you had other people, it's just a shit show, right? And, when you work in that type of business, because like you guys said, people get very, very greedy when they see,
Mm-hmm.
like $100,000 and they're like, okay, I'm only gonna take 10
Mhm.
in a month, but I have it in my hand. They rather just keep it instead of invest it and keep on working and building something up. People just see the money and they just don't care about it. They just go AWOL on it, you know?
Wow.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. You know, we want to know though. One thing that I've been thinking about lately is if we were to create our own cannabis company, John. If we were
That what?
supposed, if we were supposed to, if we were to create our own marijuana company, I've been
Mhm.
thinking about how about we create a marijuana company that's like a Tinder for weed heads, right?
Mhm.
So like you swipe right, you swipe left, and you get matched. And then like at the place you set a time and place where you're gonna meet with your match, and then you guys come together. Somebody will go over there to deliver your weed of choice because it's like you have to order it, right? Right.
Mhm.
So it's like a dating app that connects people who smoke weed who want to go on a date but want to smoke first. Guess what the name would be?
Mm.
Can I bust?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Uh, I like that one. I like that one. You know, honestly, to be completely honest with you guys, you know, right now in the cannabis industry, if you do want to put your foot into the cannabis, I recommend, you know, getting into some kind of application or
Yeah.
the tech industry of
It's
marijuana,
underserved right now,
hooking
but
people up right now
that
because
bro,
it's way
That's
too
actually a
hard
great
at the
idea.
moment.
Why are you telling?
You guys hear me?
yeah.
Yeah. Are
I
you?
can't hear you guys. Hold
Okay,
It's all right.
yes.
Bro, why would you say that online? Like, that's actually a great idea.
Copyright.
It
If
just went
anybody,
mute.
oh, am I on mute? No, you're on mute. Can
It
you hear us?
muted.
It muted. Hello.
Oh my God,
Hello.
why do we break people's
Give me one
internet?
sec, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try different headphones.
Why do we
All right.
break people's internet? But anyways,
Dude, that was a stroke of genius. I just had a stroke of genius, not an actual stroke, but a stroke of genius. Please don't take my idea. I will copyright this idea. If you take my idea, I want royalties. Royalties. You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
we have do we have time for current events?
Yeah. We have some current events. Can you hear us? Nope, no, we can't hear you. Oh, hold on one second. One second.
That's all right. While Mo's fixing his
Hold on a second.
his mic, we can go through current events real quick. Here, let me put it out real quick. So we had a crash in Bitcoin, right, or in cryptocurrency.
Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
I don't need
There you
that.
go. It's all good.
We're just going through current events right now. So I wanted to talk about the whole crash and dip when it comes to
Hold on a second. He
cryptocurrency.
muted himself. Hold on. Oh, there you go. You're good. Hello. Can you hear us? Say something.
Hello?
Okay, good. All right, cool. All right. So
Sorry
let's go
about that,
through
guys.
current events real quick. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so for current events, we saw a crash in crypto this week. So a lot of folks had hit me up, hey, like what's going on with crypto, blah blah blah. Well, you guys have to look into what's happening in the news right now. Okay, Elon Musk destroying crypto. China is trying to ban cryptocurrency. Okay,
I have a theory about that.
they just don't like a lot of things, man. They don't like Western companies. They don't like new ideas, right?
I have a theory about that.
Well, hear me out though. Here's the thing. So China actually tried their own digital currency in a small region, and it did well.
It's
Look
called
it up.
Party Coin.
Look it up. And then I think what they're trying to do is they want control over an entity. That's it. Okay.
No, so the CCP, the Chinese, yeah, it is the CCP. The CCP does this. The CCP would invite a Western company to China, and what do? They carbon copy it
Mhm.
so that they could control it, and it only serves the CCP.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
So
smart.
that's smart. That's smart. If you're the only party that's governing a country, you want to be able to control your commerce, and that's a way for them to digitize the yuan. the Chinese yuan.
Yep.
That's a power move, to be honest with you. For them to see an increase in Bitcoin usage in China, assuming this is exactly what they did. This is my theory. They took all the Bitcoin holdings and then they gave them a government program to convert this Bitcoin into their currency, and they're taking the Bitcoin that they're currently holding and selling it back. Only way to fund that.
Well, here's my perspective, on what comes to the whole crypto scene. Like 2 weeks ago, I predicted this crash. I sent John some screenshots about it. Because this is what I see. I'm not an avid in the stock market or anything. I do study. I do my work. Sometimes I stay up for the German market. I do all that. I got obsessed with it for a while, but I wouldn't call myself avid either because it takes years of experience before the stock market 100%. But what I've noticed in the investment industry is that you should also take not just a look at economics, but politics of everything. You have these cryptocurrencies and everything coming up. I mean, you had Rocket fucking going like crazy, and I mean, seriously, you just stop and think, why is this? This is just a pump and dump scene, and it just when you mess with take money away from the market, you also take money away from the GDP of companies. You take away the companies growing, being able to hire people, producing things. It takes away the whole scene. Usually when we have a recession or a depression here in the United States, it's due to the fact that our stock market is affected. Because overall, what happens is our PVP, which is basically the power of a country that we produce and the money that we have and the stability and everything is ultimately, decreased, and then so when you have something like Bitcoin that you don't even have a founder or somebody that could come up and do, contracts with other countries or with the UN or whatever you want to call it, which is almost like a Forex coin. I mean, the Forex market without belonging to any country, so it becomes a very unstable thing to actually invest in my opinion. I did invest in Dogecoin because I got it at 0.5 cent, and when it went to 22 cents I sold. But I kind of saw what was coming because obviously the United States and other countries are not going to be like, okay, you know what, mess up my GDP, mess up everything in our country, take money away from good companies. Like after what happened with GameStop, I was mad at Robinhood for what happened. I had TIM, and then I was like, what the hell? I can't buy anymore. The restrictions, cutting everything off. But at the end of the day, everything is, balanced. You have to have everything balanced. And they knew that the hedge funds were going to come very hard to make it. They weren't just going to sit with their arms crossed and be like, okay, I took an L. They came at the market and completely bled it out. You know what I mean?
They're still doing it. They're still trying to get their revenge.
They're still doing it. They lost so much money after that.
Yep.
So what happened, at the end of the day, some people got rich, but there's a lot of retail investors that also lost a lot of money on GameStop and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And they're losing money now that we're trying to protect it from, that sometimes we don't see that side. We're just like, oh, we could have got rich, but it's not that simple. A lot of people got affected with that. Like what happened with the whole Wall Street Bet and Reddit thing when they put the Dogecoin International Dogecoin Day, we're going to pump it up and this and that. As soon as 5 o'clock hit for that event, everybody dumped. I mean, there was a huge dump and people were pumping it beforehand to get in. Like sometimes it's not what it seems, and the whole market is affected. We have good companies. Before you were able to do your DD on whatever company and make money. Now it's turned into, honestly, a freaking casino. Like, you don't know what to invest in.
It is. It is. Fundamentals and technicals are out the window. Nobody knows now.
Yeah, nobody knows. I mean, you have, like a company I spoke before with John was CTRM, Castle Marathon. That was a big one that I was very attached to because I made good money with that company. When I first started, I profited about $45,000.
Mm-hmm.
In a 2 month period with that company because I saw, his dad, Petros' dad, which is the owner, he's a billionaire. He's up in the 1%. He has contract for them. They were worth $7 when they started off with 2 ships. Now they own 25 ships. Like it's in 2 oil tankers, and the company is going to be making a lot of money. But you still see the crash. Even Zamitica, it's a good company. They came out with revolutionizing technology for the veterinarian industry. But you see the crash. I invested in it because of one of my good friends, Ali Musavi. He told me about some media and he put me on it. And I did my DD and I was like, wow, great company. Look how it shot up. But now everything is being shorted so bad because of this imbalance that, like I said, everything has turned into casino. There's no balance. And what the crypto is doing is that now that they're regulating, this whole disbalance and everything, people just putting money and pumping and dumping everything.
Yeah.
They tried to escape to crypto. So it messed up the stock market and it's messing up our economy.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, I mean, we have to think with the obvious thing of what countries are going to do. They're going to be like, okay, you know what? We're going to have to regulate this whole China thing. I'm not even surprised, honestly. Obviously, China, they're like, we're going to do our own coin now. Like you've heard about the coin that they're making now that you can buy in crypto, But it's the same thing as a freaking debit card. You have your money in a debit card account with numbers. It's the same exact thing. But they don't want their money going away from their economy because it's going to mess up the country, period. And that's very obvious that honestly it was going to happen.
CCP smart, bro.
The CCP don't play. The CCP.
It went sooner or later. After what happened with China, now Biden is starting to do restrictions on it. Basically, have policies on how you invest as well.
And you know what's funny? Jay Powell had mentioned this was on the news, a few days ago. The Feds is actually thinking about getting into digital currency. Okay,
like they're talking about like a US dollar backed coin.
Yeah. Yep. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it's a sign of the times.
It's the same thing as a debit card, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing.
So what they're trying to do?
Your account, you don't have it in cash. You just swipe your card, and it's the same thing.
Yeah. What the Feds is doing right now is basically, if you can't beat them, join them.
Join them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously that's going to happen. Like I said, no country is going to let the country crash because of crypto.
Yeah.
They're not going to let their dollar go down further because of crypto. It just doesn't make sense, And unfortunately, with what we have with Bitcoin, we don't have a founder. We don't have anybody that can negotiate. We don't have absolutely anything. It's very unstabilized, Like I see,
there's no figurehead.
Huh?
There's no figurehead. There's no person to pinpoint any questions to. It's just the overall sentiment of the people who are hodling Bitcoin.
Exactly.
It's an idea.
It's a mental investment, and that's what makes it hard, for cryptocurrency, and people are realizing that. So there's going to be big dumps. And, I honestly think you should invest in crypto after the regulations come out. After what coin is being regulated where they could be used with everything. After this big dump, you're gonna have they're not gonna completely ban crypto. So what you have to see is, okay, what are the regulations? What are the regulations targeting? And what coins are gonna be useful and actually be able to go and pay at a store or pay at anywhere that you want. And invest in those coins, because without regulation, without knowing what's going to happen, you're just gambling basically with certain cryptos, and like with CTRM as well, that's a company that I really like.
and their biggest problem was that they had too many stocks. They went from
Floats high.
The
almost
float's high.
900 million,
Yeah.
900 million stock, and then they did a reverse split.
Yeah.
I came out before the reverse split, but a lot of people are panicking, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because after reverse split, you're talking about 90 million stock from 900 million.
Mhm.
So obviously, people aren't going to invest right away, but you're going to have, people shorting the crap out of the stock. And once it gets to a good value, people are going to jump back in because they know it's a huge company now with 25 bulk carriers and 2 oil tankers. And his dad's a billionaire, his sister, and he's a magnate in shipping, like he knows what he's doing, and then his sister owns Panama, which owns 12 ships as well. So as soon as, the price stabilizes, even after the reverse split, there's going to be a lot of money to be made, because now there's only a 90 million cap. And I know people personally that were investing millions into CCRM. So, it's going
to. So that's what's fascinating here. And thank you for telling us your thoughts on CTRM, because again, fundamentals don't matter anymore. Fundamentals don't. Well, I mean, the stock that John and I are super bullish on is Palantir, and the company's amazing. But because of the growth sector getting hit altogether, we're not seeing the gains that we want to see on the stock. So I mean that just kind of tells you exactly how the market conditions are currently, and it's not one thing to. It's hard to swing trade right now. It's more of a let's try to play the price action currently for what it is, get in and get out and take your profits and run with it. But thank you for that. Deep dive into CTRM. And I believe that if you have done your due diligence, I see that you've done that. And if you are highly convicted in your plays, there's no reason for you to not hold and buy more, because it's your own convictions. Nobody can tell you otherwise. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate that.
No, 100%. It's just like an investment. You have to keep your feelings out of it. I see a lot of people like on stock put diamond hands. But at the end of the day, it's for their own benefits, because they want the company to go up, and then they're gonna sell when the company gets to a certain point. It's not like they care about anybody either. You have to care about yourself. You have to keep your emotions out of it, and you have to be smart with your investments. Like I care about the company, but I'm not gonna hold. Imagine if I didn't sell at 160 and I would have sold right now that it's at like 36 cents. I would have, basically made the money that I first invested in. Like I would have not made anything, and then the reverse splits and everything. You have to be smart in the stock market, and Petros knows what he's doing. Once the stocks are reduced to 90 million, that's a big difference, because the stock could go up like crazy. With the same investments that were being put in, that were basically just bumping in a few cents, and that's what people have to see. And now with this whole crypto scare that's going on and the dump and everything, I mean, you got a Dogecoin that was basically a joke coin, that a meme coin that is worth more than really good companies. Like companies actually are making money. It's just. Honestly, it pisses me off sometimes. Like I'm just like, oh my god,
I don't understand that either. Yeah.
Nope, doesn't make sense to me. But let's talk about splits. Nvidia's doing a 4-to-1 split pretty soon. That's actually interesting news.
You know what? For as far as current event goes, Nvidia is actually the leader of semiconductors, right? So let's talk about the split. They're actually going to vote that in.
It's not final yet.
It's not final yet.
Okay.
But come on now. As an investor, heck yeah, do the split, man. Come on. Because first of all, it's going to draw more attention to the stock itself. It's going to bring in more long-term value to the stock itself, okay? But what you got to be careful of is whenever a company does a split, okay, it actually sells off. It does the complete opposite. We saw it with Apple. We saw it with Tesla. And what happened? They sold
Apple
off, and they kind of...
Apple's been trading in that section. It's not moving anywhere past those points.
Exactly. They consolidated or they dipped. Okay. So you just got to be careful with this one for the folks who are holding Nvidia. It's a great company, it pays dividends. You know, it's a growth company. Okay, but just look into after what happens with the split. Okay, just
So the way that I would play the split, if you are going to play the split, is again, once we know now that there's going to be a split vote, right? There's going to be some price action to the upside towards a split, and right when the split happens, right before dump it, collect your profits and
Cover
get
calls.
away because, or I wouldn't even cover my calls at that point. I would just let it go and then wait for the new price to stabilize. And it's going to dip a lot more, and then find a new bottom before you go in again. That's the way I would play that.
No, 100%. Like, like I said before, obviously after reverse split even before people sell off, and then you have the reverse split and it stabilizes the price, but then you're going to have people selling off after, trying to get off of the reverse split. So after the value of the reverse split, whatever the stock is, because, for example, CTRM, it's, I think, 1 to 10 ratio, they stabilize the price, and it's going to go down. And once you get it at a good price at that, people are just going to jump into that because for example, CTRM already had publicity. People know it's a good company. Everybody knows about it. It was one of the top 10 stocks that were being traded and were actually banned by Robinhood. So when you have publicity, it's a move. Billionaires are not stupid. Billionaires get their money because it's smart. And basically what's happening is they're playing these moves for a reason. They get publicity, they get all this, they get that, and then reverse split, dump, and then people buy in like crazy, and the company goes up like crazy. But a lot of people don't realize it. It's because honestly, a lot of what I've seen is that a lot of people have been barely getting into the stock. There's a lot of people that are very amateur into the stock market, that are, don't know how to invest properly, no experience. Yeah. So they tell them, buy this stock, Tesla, this, and that, which I'm not against, but they expect to be millionaires overnight. But you don't do that. For me, I have a thing called, safety stocks, which are like Tesla, Apple, this and that they don't move too much, Either you make a little bit of money or you may lose a little bit of money or anything, you could invest it there. But if you want to make money, you have to go into like riskier stocks like penny stocks and things like that.
Sure.
That's just my personal view on it.
Yeah. Everybody has their own trading styles. But we are coming across some time here. Before we let you go, we want to play a little game called This or That. We're going to ask you a series of questions, 2 options. You get to pick one. And then we're going to talk about your answers if we have to, or if we come across some funny ones. But you get to pick one, right? It's just for us to get to know you a little bit better. John, take it away.
All right, Mo. So it's pretty simple. Either pick A or B, and then we move on to the next one, right? All right. So options are shares.
Shares.
Okay. Hulk or Thor?
Hold.
Bitcoin or Dogecoin?
Ooh, it's a good one. I would say original.
Samsung or Apple?
Which ones?
Samsung or Apple?
Apple.
Okay. Indica or sativa?
Sativa. 100%.
Pink or the stink?
The pink or the stink?
The pink or the stink?
What?
The pink or the stink?
The pink.
Hey.
I don't know if you had to think about it or something. Camping or beach?
Beach.
Growth or value stocks?
Growth.
Ghosted or catfished?
Catfish.
Heroin or ecstasy?
Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hip hop or EDM?
What happened?
Hip hop or EDM?
EDM 100%.
There you go.
Hookers or blow?
Blow.
Woohoo!
Herpes or crabs?
Crabs.
Man, we only
Temporary.
had one that picked the herps.
It's
Okay.
temporary, dude. We love
Bro,
temporary
who picked
things.
that, bro? There's no cure for that.
Benz or BMW?
Benz,
Netflix or Disney?
Netflix.
Star Wars or Marvel?
Which ones?
Star Wars or Marvel?
Marvel.
Sushi or ramen?
Wait, that's a hard one. Sushi.
And last but not least, hands or feet?
Depends what you're talking about.
Wait,
Like
what?
on a girl, what attracts you more, hands or feet? Hands. Okay. Depends what you're talking
I don't know
about.
what you're talking about, bro. You asking me weird.
Like
It's a simple
like
question. It's a simple
cows.
question, man.
Hooves. I like hooves.
That's it for today.
All right. That is it. That is it for our show. Thank you, Mo, for coming on. We do really we appreciate the conversation. You really
Thanks for the knowledge.
yeah, the knowledge is amazing, and it definitely helps us because it also helps the listeners because it gives our listeners a different perspective in the stock market and other like ideas, right? What we found is everybody has their own trading style and everybody has their own convictions on certain plays, and it's great to know that other people are doing their own due diligence and they are in like they have their own convictions, and it's amazing to definitely have you into the fold of our community because it definitely helps out. We really do appreciate it.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun having this conversation. I'm very happy to meet you guys. It was a great time. Thank you guys for having me.
You're most welcome, and we will get you on a future episode for sure. But with that being said, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button, hit that post notification bell, give us a nice thumbs up. If you guys want us to cover some stocks on Daddy Bits, make sure that you guys drop it down in the comment section below. Follow us on all the social media. Follow me at Trading Poppy. Follow John at John C Trades. TradingDaddies.com. Follow us at Trading Daddies. If you want to buy some merch, make sure that you guys use the code Robinhood Sucks for 15% off. Mo, you want to plug up your social media?
Yeah. So what social media? The Instagram?
Yes, Instagram, yeah.
Was at Viatori Petui.
There you go. Go give them a follow. Ask them some questions if you guys have any other lingering questions from this episode. And if you haven't yet, make sure that you guys hit up our friends over at Bust Down Investments. If you want to be a new trader, don't know where to start. If you want to be a better trader, just learn some tips and tricks. Make sure that you guys hit up Jay over at Bust Down Investments. Definitely point you in the right direction. There's different packages, different sizes for all budgets, and definitely check that out. But with that being said, let's get trading.
God bless you guys. Thank you for everything.
Yeah.